Once upon a time, in a village surrounded by lush green hills and sparkling rivers, there lived an old man and an old woman. They were peasants who worked hard every day to earn their rice. The old man would cut grass for the farmers, while the old woman tended to their little rice fields and managed their home. One bright summer day, while the old man was away cutting grass and the old woman was washing clothes by the river, something magical happened. As the old woman washed her clothes in the crystal clear river, a giant peach came floating down the stream. It was the biggest peach she had ever seen. "What a big peach this is! I'll take it home," she said. But the peach was just out of her reach, and she couldn't find a stick to fetch it. Remembering an old charm verse, she clapped her hands and sang, "Distant water is bitter, the nearby water is sweet. Pass by the distant water and come into the sweet." Miraculously, the peach floated closer to her, allowing her to grab it. Excited and happy, she hurried home with the peach, eager to share her discovery with her husband. When the old man returned, tired from work, the old woman surprised him with the enormous peach. As they marveled at its size, they decided to cut it open. When the old woman began to cut it, to their surprise, the peach cut apart itself, and a big baby emerged from inside the peach, speaking in a clear voice. "Wait a bit, old man. I am no ogre or fairy. I will tell you the truth. Heaven has had compassion on you. Every day and every night you have lamented that you had no child. Your cry has been heard, and I am sent to be the son of your old age." Overjoyed, the old couple named the child Momotaro, which means son of a peach. The years passed quickly by, and the child grew to be 15 years of age. He was taller and far stronger than any other boys of his age. He had a handsome face and a heart full of courage, and was very wise for his years. The old couple's pleasure was immense when they looked at him, for he was just what they thought a hero ought to be like. One day, Momotaro approached his father with gratitude and a request. He said to his parents, "I hear there live a few bad ogres on the ogre's island. Oh yes, they sometimes come to our village and do many evil things, but we are at a loss what to do. Then I'll go there and defeat them. My mother, please make me some millet dumplings." The old woman made him the most delicious dumplings in Japan. Momotaro carried them in a bag around his waist and left his house for the ogre's island. With his father's blessing and mother's dumplings and a bag around his waist, Momotaro left his house for the ogre's island. On his way, he met a dog. "Mr. Momotaro, what do you have in your bag?" "I have the most delicious dumplings in Japan." "If you give me one, I'll follow you." Momotaro gave one dumpling to the dog, and the dog happily became his follower. When he and the dog made their way, a monkey came toward him. "Mr. Momotaro, what do you have in your bag?" "I have the most delicious dumplings in Japan. If you give me one, I'll follow you." Momotaro gave one dumpling to the monkey, and the monkey became one of his men with pleasure. When they were walking, a pheasant flew over toward them. "Mr. Momotaro, what do you have in your bag?" "I have the most delicious dumplings in Japan. If you give me one, I'll follow you." Momotaro also gave one dumpling to the pheasant, and the pheasant became one of his men with pleasure. After a long journey through the long valleys, over the hills, and on board a small ship over the waves, Momotaro and his companions reached the island stronghold of the ogres and bravely challenged the ogres. There, in front of the castle's gate, stood a big ogre. Momotaro picked up a big stone and threw it at him. The monkey climbed up the gate quickly to open it. The pheasant attacked the ogre's eyes. Momotaro and his team launched a fierce attack, defeating the ogres and freeing all the captives. Momotaro's onslaught was so furious that the ogres could not stand against him. The four companions fought like 100. Some of the ogres fell off the parapet of the castle and were dashed to pieces on the rocks beneath. Others fell into the sea and were drowned. Many were beaten to death by the three animals. All the captives whom the wicked ogres had carried off to be his slaves were taken safely to their own homes. The whole country rejoiced on being freed from the robber ogres. Momotaro was made a hero, and his return was celebrated far and wide. The old couple's joy was greater than ever, and the treasure Momotaro had brought home with him enabled them to live in peace and plenty to the end of their days.